President-elect Donald Trump is getting a big financial boost for his upcoming inauguration. A source familiar with the matter says online retail giant Amazon will donate $1 million. Company founder Jeff Bezos is also planning to visit Trump within the next few days. The two men spoke this summer shortly after the first assassination attempt against Trump. Bezos praised Trump on social media at the time, saying he showed great courage during the incident.
Mike Barnicle, there's going to be a lot of speculation on the incoming Trump team's foreign policy, but of course on the domestic front as well. We were talking earlier in the show about some of his cabinet picks, more controversial ones. One of those who's going to take center stage next week is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's going to begin his own lobbying of senators on Capitol Hill. And we mentioned earlier that new reporting from the New York Times that perhaps Kennedy's top aide, one of his top aides, has in the past petitioned, as you can see it here, has asked the FDA to revoke approval of the polio vaccine, a vaccine that has saved countless and protected countless lives. Your thoughts?
You know, we've been talking a lot this morning. Obviously, we just finished one segment talking about elements of national security that affect the American public. There's no doubt about that. But in terms of America's interest at a sidewalk level in national security, I think most people, in terms of the names of Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel, it's basically, skywriting. It just disappears in their minds because they're more concerned about family security. And the idea that Jonas Salk, 75 years ago, created the Salk vaccine to help eradicate polio. I went to grammar school with kids who came to the same grammar school classroom I sat in, who were wearing braces and sticks to carry them through the day, to walk. They had polio. The idea that we're going to eliminate the Salk vaccine and take a look at vaccines that all infants and children get to prevent measles and other really radical diseases that could cause harm to them. The idea that we're talking about eliminating them based upon the quackery of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and it is quackery, and he's a very smart guy, and he ought to know better, but he clearly doesn't know better. But the idea that we're still seriously talking about eliminating vaccines for many children is almost beyond belief.
Well said.
Polio vaccine, of course, has saved millions of lives and an estimated 20 million people from paralysis since Jonas Salk developed it, and it was implemented in 1955. As Mike says, extraordinary. We're talking about it, but one note, doctors we have on the show all the time, we talk to privately, say it's a long way between his quackery and the actual elimination of those vaccines, but it is on the table this morning.
Defense Forces has released video, it says, shows the Israeli Air Force striking surface-to-air missile launchers and Syrian Air Force fighter jets inside of Syria. The Israeli military says Syria's aerial defense systems were severely damaged by these strikes. Israel also struck Syrian Air Force bases in the northern Damascus area and weapons manufacturing sites near the Lebanese border. The strikes, they come as the UN Security Council meets today to discuss a framework for achieving lasting peace in Syria.
New tonight, after a wave of mysterious drone sightings in New Jersey, people are concerned and demanding answers, but the government isn't saying much. Now similar sightings are being reported here in San Diego and across Southern California. CBS 8's Brian White has the details.
This is over my house right now. What is that?
It's a question puzzling New Jersey residents looking up at the sky.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Since last month, dozens of drones mysteriously hovering in the Jersey skies at night. Olivia DiMatteo owns a coffee shop near where the drones have been spotted.
They are the size of small cars, almost like a Mini Cooper or a Ford Escape size.
There is a bunch of red lights floating in the sky.
This video was taken by archaeologist Colin Rambo a couple weeks ago in Lemon Grove.
I was driving down the street, just right down the street from my house here, and I pulled my car over because I saw what looked like a fleet of glowing red orbs.
Last night, someone called our CBS 8 newsroom with reports of a large drone sighting above the SR 125 freeway.
There are drones all over the sky.
And this video was taken 3 nights ago in Temecula.
We eventually saw one really fairly close, and it was just about the size of a car. We were at some points right under them, and there was no noise at all.
Music artist and producer It's Nomad Music said these didn't seem like regular planes or helicopters.
They'll be going just straight one direction, and then all of a sudden they'll just zag and then keep going, or turn around, or they just break really quick.
I reached out to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed the drones were not law enforcement's, and a spokesperson for Camp Pendleton told me they're aware of recent drone activity in surrounding communities, but that, quote, no military unmanned aerial systems training or activity has occurred during the time or place in question. Meanwhile, in Lemon Grove, looking back, Colin thinks what he saw could have been paper lanterns in the air, but he's not sure.
With everything that's going on in the news, all these sightings, just please look up at night, you know? The more we look up, the more chances we'll have to see what's out there.
Brian White, CBS.
First on the East Coast, now mysterious objects are being spotted on the West Coast, Temecula to be specific, leaving residents buzzing.
Christy Fajardo joining us live with the update there. Christy.
Yeah, Christine and Susan, is very much a mystery. The Biden administration has said that multiple agencies, including the FBI, are investigating the sightings, but says it's possible that much of what people are seeing are actually manned aircraft. But people who live here in Temecula say they're used to seeing helicopters and planes from nearby Camp Pendleton, and they say what they saw was quiet, and one had the video to prove it.
I think the public has a right to know what is flying above the skies and what the purpose is.
This is what Brian Dirk saw over his Temecula backyard yesterday evening, but he's not the only one who saw it. There are multiple social media videos just like his from South Riverside County, and listen closely. Witnesses say whatever it was didn't make a sound.
We saw two that came directly overhead our backyard in South Temecula here, and then we've seen a bunch across the horizon.
I looked up because it was coming now right over top of me, and it was quiet. It didn't make any noise.
Melinda Peters saw them last night too in Temecula, which is a mountain range away from Camp Pendleton. The Marine base sent a written statement that reads in part, "We are aware of the drones that are flying over Temecula. They are not associated and do not impact Camp Pendleton's training and operations." But the base command did not elaborate on who might be flying them.
I don't think that it's regular off-the-shelf drones that are being flown around, at least here. Based on what we saw, it was a pretty good size, almost the size of like maybe a smaller vehicle, a car.
It's similar to videos taken in the skies above New Jersey last month.
Yeah, that's no plane.
Prompting security concerns and this response from the Biden administration.
These are not U.S. military drones. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
But in Temecula, people we spoke with say they are certain they saw drones and just want to know if a business or a government agency or who else might be behind them.
You would think that they'd let people know, so that, because like I said, it's become this big thing.
So you heard Camp Pendleton says those drones were not theirs. We also reached out to the Forest Service because the Cleveland National Forest is nearby. They say it wasn't them either. SoCal Edison does confirm they did fly drones yesterday, but they say that was near Menifee and Murrieta and not after dark, so you can rule them out as well. The one agency, though, we have not heard back from is the FAA. We'll keep you posted. Live in Temecula, I'm Chrissy Fajardo. Let's send it back to you.
Tonight, one mayor in New Jersey is raising concerns and demanding answers after mysterious drones have been spotted lighting up the night sky. Joining us tonight is New Jersey Mayor Sam Morris from Mine Hill to talk about what has become a really bizarre situation, Mayor. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby has said there is no evidence to show drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat. As you know, he also said they have no foreign nexus. So what was your first thought when you heard all of that?
Oh, I was pretty angry. But, you know, when he says, oh, there's no evidence, we haven't seen that evidence. They haven't shared one document, one email, one anything with anyone that we're aware of that would maybe let the rest of us judge for ourselves. And when he says there's no danger to the public, there is a danger to the public. These things are up in the air. The Colonel of the New Jersey State Police said they turn off their lights and they turn off their locating beacons. And that's right there is a violation of federal law. So, and the state police have seen them. And they commented what they do when the state police gets near them. Yet the White House says, oh, there's no credible threat. The threat is if they're turning off their lights, they could get entangled in an airplane or some other, a helicopter or something. And the weight of these things, if they somehow malfunction and lost their power and they come down, if they weigh 50 pounds and they're falling from 300 feet, that's not going to be good for whoever's underneath of it. So I really think Mr. Kirby's statement today was pretty stupid.
We have heard some concerns from residents, of course, as well. Kirby said the sightings are manned aircraft. Can you break down the regulations surrounding what is lawful behavior in New Jersey when it comes to drone use?
First of all, any drone that's up in the air, and my understanding is it's anything above 50 feet. So under 50 feet is kind of a, little kids with those little airplanes and things like that. But anything over 50 feet, as I understand it, you have to have a FAA flight plan. Now, I know 3 different drone operators. In the morning, you go in, you fill out a form on the FAA website, you submit it, and generally they get back to you in pretty short order and say, hey, yeah, if you want to fly a drone today over a farm, over a lake, you want to get some fall pictures, your flight plan is approved and you're good to go. They've said that these don't have a flight plan.
We understand that you spoke with the U.S. Homeland Security Advisor. What's their explanation for what's going on? What do you want to see happen next?
He spoke at the meeting yesterday at the state police headquarters. There were 250 mayors or so in the room. There was the colonel of state police and the advisor from Homeland Security. The advisor from Homeland Security didn't say a whole lot. Not that he didn't want to, but he just didn't have a lot to add. And the hearing frustrated some people, but we did find out some good information. And what it is what was confirmed by the state police yesterday is that whoever is flying these things and whoever's operating them, they're violating Section 107 of the FAA code, which manages drones. So there's big problems, and and that's why this has everyone so upset. So this stuff that these are not real is just hogwash.
And people are documenting what they see. We were just playing out some videos. Probably some of your residents shot those images. So we appreciate your time. Keep us posted on what you find. Mayor Sam Morris, thank you for joining us tonight on the National News Desk.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, finally, I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. That's it.
A couple questions about drones. There have been repeated drone sightings in the Northeast, especially in New Jersey. These are not small drones, some of them pretty large. They're flying at low altitudes, they're flying in flocks. Has the president been briefed on this situation?
So we are certainly aware, the president is aware. So we're closely tracking the activity and coordinating closely with relevant agency, including DHS and FBI, to continue to investigate these incidents. Don't have anything beyond that to share. Obviously, this is something that DHS and FBI are tracking very, very closely, and so I would have to refer you to them directly, but aware. Keeping an eye out and looking into the incidents that you just mentioned.
Still though, but has the federal government ruled out that these are controlled by foreign entities?
Yeah.
And do you know if they're conducting surveillance over these areas?
So I cannot make any kind of predictions or comments about that specifically from here. This is something that DHS is looking at and FBI, so I would have to refer you to them. I don't have anything beyond that. We're tracking this very closely. Obviously, we're all aware of the incidents that have been reported. I'm not going to go into what they could be or could not be from here. That is something that obviously is being looked at as those respective agencies that I mentioned.
When was the president briefed on this?
I don't have a timeline, but he certainly has been made aware of this.
And
his,
the
his
New Jersey
up-to-date.
governor said, it's frustrating that there aren't answers about where these are coming from, that people are very concerned about this. What's the White House message to the people up there who are frustrated that there isn't any information right now?
And obviously, we hear them and we understand that. We are closely tracking this. We are monitoring the incidents that have been put forward and certainly made public. And we have two agencies that I've already mentioned that are looking into this, working closely with folks on the ground, trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't have anything more to share beyond that.
Is it possible that everyone from the New Jersey governor to the FBI have no idea what these are? Joining us now is my friend Evan Cutler, who witnessed one of the drones up close in New Jersey. He took some pictures as well. Evan, good to see you. So Evan described to me what he saw, and I said, you got to come on the show to talk about it. Evan, what did you see?
Well, I saw a drone. If it was a drone, who knows what it was, but it was not the drone you see people fly. There's the picture. It was the size of a school bus. Literally the size of my two-car garage. Well, I have a one-car garage, the size of a two-car garage.
And what happened when you saw it or you started taking pictures, et cetera?
Well, look, to back up a little bit, I'm coming home from On Patrol Live. It's 12:30 at night, and I get into Montclair, New Jersey, and I see the full moon. And I'm like, well, it can't be a full moon because the full moon was 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, it's getting closer and closer. And then first, I think it's a plane, then a helicopter. Then it's hovering right over the woods as you're entering Montclair. And it's a drone literally 40 feet wide by 40 feet wide, hovering right over the woods. I pull over, get out of my car, forget about the phone. I'm just like looking at this thing, wondering what the heck it is. Then I said, oh, I should take a picture. I grab my phone, the second it notices I'm out there, it just starts heading south. Grab the picture. The picture looks like a dot. It looks like, at the very most, like a Plan 9 from outer space flying saucer. But when I got a good close look at it, when it was only about 100 feet off the ground, maybe 150 feet off the ground, it looked like a drone on steroids, like literally a drone the size of a garage.
And you reported it to the authorities?
I got home. The first thing I did is I Googled. I went on X. I went on Instagram. I like, is this a thing? And I saw nothing except one little news report from Morris County Patch about some drones making noise and keeping people up at night. Nothing. So the next morning I called the FAA, I called the FBI, and still to this day I have not gotten a response from either of them.
Well, it's not surprising considering we just saw them in front of a House committee saying they don't know what's going on. But, it is
the one thing I got to say, though, is if for people like me who do see something that's unidentified, there's very little recourse. I Googled, what do you do when you see a UFO? There's nothing. I think that's why a lot of times these things go unreported. You have nowhere to go. And I'm a seasoned journalist. I know, I did some digging. I found out who to call. And to this day, I've gotten no response.
It's weird that it's just happening in this one area of New Jersey. Maybe they're just monitoring you, Evan.
That was my first thought, and and I do have my aluminum foil here if I do want to make a hat. That was what some people at On Patrol Live suggested. But as ridiculous as everything sounds, I do have a teeny bit of credibility. I'm the president of the Montclair Bird Club. I'm used to looking at things in the sky. I've been a bird watcher since 4th grade. I spend my weekends at the Montclair Hawk Watch. I look at things in the sky. I know that's one of the things I'm good at.
Yeah, you're good at many things, Evan. Don't sell yourself short. Evan Cutler, thank you very much for coming on the show.